In this video, I'm talking about polishers and which ones to buy, whether you're a beginner or an advanced auto detailer, with all these things that are changing in the industry. What's up, guys? Glad you're here. Welcome back to the Wilson Auto Detailing community. If you're a pro detailer or car enthusiast and you just love everything auto detailing, then consider subscribing. So polishers and DA polishers, rotary polishers, let's get into this. So on my car hood here, you see 4 different polishers. One's a rotary, 3 are DA polishers. These are not all the polishers I own, but they are some of the polishers I own. Now, the question comes in all the time, and I get it, right? Like, which polisher do I buy? Do I buy a DA? When do I buy a rotary? How much do I need to know before I buy a rotary? All of those questions are good questions, and I think there's a lot of things to consider in this. And so I actually want to walk one by one through this video and these polishers to explain. You can probably see here, I've got everything from like a $450 polisher to a $150 polisher and everything in between. Now, of course, generally speaking, I'm going to suggest that a beginner starts with a DA. I don't want to go into why, but of course, DA polishers, it's hard to mess things up with a DA polisher. Before we get into the contents of particular polishers, let me make this statement real fast. Most things are made in China. We know that, okay? Most polishers, most things are made in China. Sometimes things are put together in other countries. For example, the Rufus polisher is an Italian-made polisher. Does that mean all of its parts are Italian? No, it doesn't. There are parts of polishers that are made in China. This is a Max Shine polisher. This one is 100% a Chinese polisher, manufactured in China. This is a Gredos Garage DA polisher. Guess what? Manufactured in China. This is a Dewalt rotary. I don't know where it was manufactured. I don't want to speak on it because I don't want to say something wrong and then people try to come after me. So, just so we're all clear here, sometimes people get weird and they're like, I would never buy something from this country or that country. Look, there are polishers from all over that work really, really well, and I want to get into them now. So this first polisher right here is my Dewalt rotary polisher. I've had this thing for years. I love it. I was very, very hesitant when I believe I got it when I was 17 years old, and I was very scared to start using it because people freak you out when they talk about rotary polishers, especially on the forums. Rotary polishers generally are for the heavy lifting. That's what I say, at least. They're for the heavy lifting. They're for the heavy cutting, the compounding. That's what I generally use this for. I almost always follow up with a dual action polisher if I ever use a rotary. I never just use a rotary. This is kind of my workhorse. I love this thing. I don't pull it out all that often, to be honest with you. So if you're a beginner out there and you're saying, do I need a rotary polisher? I think the answer is pretty simple. No, you don't. If you're a beginner, there's no point in getting a rotary. It takes a little while to learn. You need to start with a DA, something that's much more user-friendly, something you can use on a regular basis without being worried about if you're going to harm or hurt some of the paint. And the fact it is with a rotary, yeah, you need to be worried if you're going to hurt something. It's very possible for you to do that. Now, people ask me the question, when is the time for me to get a rotary? Well, consider a couple things. Number one, how much are you doing paint correction? How heavy of correction are you doing? Are you wet sanding? Are you doing 2-step? Or is most of your clientele pretty basic? You're doing 1-step polishing. You're doing simple finishing polishes. You don't really need to go into anything deeper than a DA. It's gonna vary for each person. This polisher particularly has a soft start button here. You guys can see a soft start trigger. It also goes from 600 RPM to, I believe, 3,500. And of course, it's got a little grip here that I can hold, and I like this a little bit better for a rotary than I do necessarily like a platypus head. So this works very well for me. It's a very, very powerful polisher. Of course, while it gets up to 3,500 RPM, I would never actually use 3,500 RPM on any sort of car paint. It just doesn't make sense to go that high. This is a fantastic polisher. As far as rotary polishers go, they say, do I need a flex? Do I need X, Y, and Z? I believe this polisher cost me $200. It's not very expensive. I love it. It's a workhorse. It's not going to give out on me anytime soon. I'm planning on using it for years to come. Kind of like Old Faithful, to be honest with you. All right, my Rufus Bigfoot. This puppy runs about $450. Again, this is an Italian, and again, I'm not trying to downplay Rufus, okay? Let me be clear. This is one of my favorite polishers. It's definitely the highest quality polisher I own. There's no question about that. Rufus has a brand that's very popular for a good reason. They make a very quality polisher. The reason I say that not everything is Italian design is because it's just you got to understand the difference between brand and then, you know, truth in the detailing industry. This has a brand behind it. They're associated with Italy. They're associated with, you know, European engineers, Italian designing. They really play on that hard. And again, for good reason. This is an Italian-made polisher. It just doesn't mean 100% of it is. And so while I'm not telling you to be skeptical, I'm just trying to get you to understand. Now, it's got a platypus head here. It's got a soft start. Just pretty standard as far as polishers go. We've got speeds all the way from 1 to 6, and again, I love this polisher. It's fantastic. It does everything from heavy cutting and compounding to just light finishing polish, even just to applying wax. There's nothing that the Rufus polisher is not going to do. But granted, when you pay $450 for a polisher, of course there's nothing it's not going to do. This is an amazing polisher. There's no question. If you're a beginner, do you need a Rufus? No, I don't think so. Now again, I'm just speaking out of experience, but I would not suggest that any beginner buy a $450 polisher. Do you have any customers yet? Do you have any paint correction jobs yet? And then on top of that, I didn't use a Rufus until about 2 years ago. And my kind of entry-level polishers took me very, very far in the detailing world and in the paint correction world, and I didn't have to have a close to $500 polisher. It just wasn't necessary at the time. Now, if you're an advanced guy, you've been detailing a while, you like paint correction, you've been getting more and more into it, I would absolutely suggest checking out the Rufus. There's no question this is a fantastic polisher, very, very high quality. It vibrates very, very minimally. Does the backing plate stall? Yes, it does. Every single DA polisher is going to stall. Does it stall less than most? Well, I'll let you decide that as somebody who may want to purchase this. Is it high quality? Yes. Is it easy to use? Yes. Is it light and can be used easily? Yes. Can I use it with even one hand? Yes, I can. Is it a good user experience? Absolutely. Should you do it if you're a beginner? I'll let you decide. If you're an advanced guy and you're getting more and more into the paint correction detailing world, absolutely something to consider here. Now, the Gredos Garage polisher is this is more of I call this like a retail grade polisher, right? You can pick one of these up from AutoZone or from Auto Parts, okay? This is a very, very entry-level polisher. Extremely light, extremely easy to hold. It comes with this little handle right here. This is what I call a retail grade polisher, the Gredos Garage. It's great. Yes, it's fantastic for beginners. Does it work well? Yes, it does. Your standard 1 to 6 speed setting. It's got an on and off switch right here. Very, very easy to use. Now, couple things about this polisher. This is a beginner's polisher. I wouldn't really suggest it for anyone else. And the truth is, I hate to say it, but I rarely even suggest this polisher anymore for beginners, just because the next one I'm going to show you, I do believe outperforms this one, and it's just too close to the same price range. However, I want to show you guys nonetheless this polisher because it is the one that I actually started with. It's the one that brought me a very, very long way, and so there is some sentiment attached to it, I guess. However, it's got a 6-inch backing plate, right, hook and loop, and of course you can change out the backing plate as well. Gredos Garage comes out with, 3-inch backing plates, all sorts of stuff. But again, this is just a very standard polisher. There's nothing really fancy about it. Does it vibrate a lot? Yes, it does. But again, you're paying $150. So what can you expect? Vibrates a lot. Does the backing plate stall a lot? Yeah, it stalls a lot. There's not a lot of way to get around it, right? The backing plate stalls more than any of my other polishers that you guys are gonna see. However, is it a good polisher in the sense for a beginner? Yes, if you're really afraid you're gonna hurt something. I would say this is great for the beginner who's very, very timid and afraid. You are not going to hurt anything with this polisher. It's very, very small. It's easy to hold, right? You can hold it pretty much anywhere with one hand, not a big deal. But again, I would call this on the lower end as far as quality polishers go. Now this last polisher is a DA. It's from a company called Max Shine. Yes, you guys know I've talked about them before. I particularly push their polisher because I like it a lot. They're actually the first company that I've ever partnered with in any capacity whatsoever because I actually so value what they're doing with their polishers. Now as far as their other products, I'll let you guys decide on that. But yes, I do very much like their polisher. Now a couple things that are pretty standard with it. It's got a standard 1 to 6 speed setting, right? It's got a soft start down here. On top of that, this is a 5-inch backing plate. It's got a 900-watt motor. It's got a platypus head right here, grip that I can grip very easily. You guys can see the way it's designed. It's very easy. It's not going to slip out of my hands. Now, why do I like this polisher, and in what ways do I push it? Well, let me explain. This polisher, depending on where you buy it, it sits anywhere between about $165 and $200. This is a polisher that I would call very eclectic, in that I would buy it if I was a beginner, and I would buy it if I was just the best guy in the paint correction world that existed. They are actually able, I don't want to get into the technicalities of it, but they are able to actually sell a quality polisher at a lower price point. And that's what I particularly like about this. Is this polisher the best one on the market that's ever been created? Well, I'm not saying that. Is it amazing and it'll never stall and it'll never give out? Well, no, I'm not saying that either. What I'm saying is, in my opinion, right now in the detailing world, this is probably the best bang for your buck as far as polishers go. And there's actually a lot of other detailers that will give you that same testimony. Does it vibrate a little bit? Yeah, it vibrates a little bit. Does it vibrate less than any other polisher I've used at this price point? Yes, it does. Does the backing plate stall sometimes? Yes, it does. Does it stall less than any other polisher I've used at this price point? Yes. And so again, what I'm saying is quality build and very, very low price, and that's why I particularly like this polisher. It comes with a standard 10-foot, maybe even 15-foot cord, I can't remember exactly. And again, this is called the Master M15. Basically, it's got a 15mm throw. They also have one that's a 1,000-watt motor, and it is a, I believe, 21mm throw. And so again, very, very good polisher for the price. Bang for your buck right here, if you ask me. Again, beginner or expert detailer, this is just a good one to have in your arsenal. I would call this kind of the all-around DA. I'd bring this one with me wherever I went. It's probably the one that I just reach for naturally. Easy to use, easy to clean, easy to put away, and again, really good results, particularly for the money you're spending, which is why with beginners, I've kind of moved away from suggesting the Gredos Garage 6-inch to suggesting this one, because even though you'll pay a little bit more, I just think it's worth the quality. So that's just a quick breakdown of several different DA polishers and rotary polishers that I own. There's some things to consider when you're thinking about buying one. Of course, I'm gonna hook up links to every one of these polishers below in the description box. If you use those links, it does give this channel a small commission, but it helps me continue to put out content like this. Of course, I'm gonna hook up my website as well, detailingjunk.com, where I actually have more written information about these and video reviews. So check that out to see any video reviews of these polishers. It'll probably help you make a decision as well. I hope this video helped you. I know I would have loved to see a video like this when I was beginning, trying to figure out which DA to buy. It definitely is a confusing thing to figure out. But of course, if you're new here and you're a pro detailer or car enthusiast and you just love everything auto detailing, then again, consider subscribing. And as always from Luke, here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I will see you guys in the next video.